Today is the big day, my friends, for we are finally going to face the first boss of the island, the Broodmother. Weeks of preparation have led up to this moment, but don't be mistaken, this is but a stepping stone on our journey to ascension. In fact, the Broodmother is the easiest of the three main bosses on the island, so if we end up struggling with that one, let's just say things are not looking good for the other ones. Oh yeah, did I mention it's day 57 on our 100 days to beat this map? We are in a bit of a hurry. Obviously, a lot has happened since the last episode, so let me catch you up on what the boys and I have been up to prior to taking on this challenge. Things like going to caves to retrieve artifacts.
Brandon, no!
Building breeding pens to raise an army. Why are they all so bad? And taming giant crocodiles that could eat you in one bite if they wanted to.
Get damn it!
You know, just your average Tuesday. So let's get some housekeeping out of the way before facing the giant spider, because in order to fight the boss, you are going to have to collect their respective artifacts from a variety of different caves. And for those caves, you might want some specialized creatures. Our direwolves will do just fine for the majority of them, but some others might benefit from something like a baryonyx. So being the swamp experts that we are, Echo and I decide to head out and catch a few of those. In fact, we are such experts that I came up with a brilliant idea. One of the most annoying things about the swamp is that there's so much foliage you can't see what's attacking you until it's too late. So bringing our Therizinos, Echo and I began flattening the forest to give us clear sightlines to everything around us. We could even see these annoying jumping crocodiles from a mile away, though that was not the only reptile that we would run into. It's like, oh my god, there's two of those? Echo!
Whoa, what happened?
These Dinosuchus are here. They're low level, but they're massive. This was our first run-in with the biggest crocodile in the game, the Dinosuchus. Our tribe was already a big fan of the Sarco, so our curiosity was definitely captured. Now, taming one of these is not as simple as trapping it and knocking it out, which is what we did to a level 110 baryonyx. Yes, my friends, the giant Dinosuchus is a passive tame, but that doesn't mean its behavior would be passive as well.
How do we tame this thing?
I got the kibble in my inventory. I'm just waiting for it to do the mouth thing.
Oh, it's doing the mouth thing.
Oh, it's trying to hunt the Dimorphodon. Dang it.
Just walk towards it.
No, are you crazy? Are we cool? Are we alright? Hey, buddy. You look hungry. Get damn it! No!
Did the taming thing get any higher?
It did not work. It did not work. Run away. Oh, this is so scary. Turns out it wasn't so easy. In order to stealth, you need to crouch, but because I was in water just deep enough for me to not be able to do that, it aggroed onto me. As the person who spotted this high level, I was determined to see this through to the end, but being a fan of swimming tames, Echo was getting uneasy.
Just give me some of the kibble so we can just take turns.
Nah, bro, you gotta respect the dibs.
Let's play. We're gonna be playing.
You don't even have full ghillie. You're not gonna be hidden. Don't get too. You don't have full ghillie.
It won't see me, bro. Trust.
Bro, you need full ghillie to be invisible.
You and your science.
Despite his objections, I did not share my kibble with him until I had succeeded. Which, granted, did take a few attempts, but eventually, he was mine. Now, thankfully, we had enough resources on our boat to make a saddle for this beast, but until its first deployment, we had to tame a few more creatures. Echo managed to get knocked unconscious by a frog again, and I'm sure at least a few of you are wondering why we even bother going through the effort of getting another frog in the first place. Well, you see, these creatures are very good at farming a very specific resource from eating bugs, of which you can find a lot in the swamp. So we took Buford to do exactly that, and I mean... So that was like, what, 4 or 5 Megatherium?
Yeah.
You got another 64. We got 100.
What?
Off of a handful of them. Yo!
Bro, take them to that one cave with the ants.
We'll be rich.
Oh my god.
Hello there.
Oh, there's another frog right here. What level is it? Oh, looks so cool. 140.
140? Okay, game box told me. Now you might be wondering why we are losing our collective shit over something called cementing paste, but you see, cementing paste is one of the components you need to craft hard polymer. And you know what you can make with hard polymer? Shotguns. Honestly, it's a pretty important resource for the mid and late game, and let's be real, our penguin farm was not going to produce enough organic polymer to meet all of our needs. We now got everything we needed from the swamp, so we decided to head back to New Man's Landing, but obviously, Echo still had a chip on his shoulder about not having a Dinosuchus of his own. And one thing you have to know about this man is that he is incredibly lucky. I spent 20 days looking for high-level dinos to no avail, but the 1 week he's with me, level 140 frog, 140 Therizino, another 115 baryonyx, and a 145 rex basically right in front of our doorstep. And as if that was not lucky enough, he also found something very high level, which he didn't want me to know about.
Where's the other berry?
I don't know, it's yours.
You're the one who... Where'd you put him?
Well, I didn't put him anywhere, you just left him.
I thought you were making it follow you.
Why would you think that? I'm literally looking at it, bro. It's exactly where you left it.
Where?
You are such a bad dad, bro.
You're the one who took it. You're the one who was making it follow you.
I brought it to you, their dad.
I'm gonna give you a ghillie suit.
At that point, I definitely kind of felt bad for him. He just died in the swamp, and presumably all of his gear had broken. I figured he just needed to get back his stuff, but in actuality, he found a max-level Deinosuchus. Whilst he went back to the swamp, I decided to stay with my knocked-out T-Rex to protect it, but at some point, I noticed a little pop-up, so I decided to investigate. Echo, you good?
Yeah, for the most part. Where are you?
I'm right behind this rock. I don't want to get too close because I don't have ghillie.
I'm gonna be real, bro. I was trying to like get up close to him and feed him one of the kibbles. I ate one of them.
My final kibble in the inventory.
My final kibble, Jojo.
Please don't eat this by accident.
Yes!
Let's go! Perfect tame!
Oh my god. Deinosuchus, he's level 150. He's a big boy. I'm naming this guy King K. Rool.
12,400 HP. Bro, you got a tank, bro. Now that we each got a Deinosuchus for ourselves, obviously we had to take them out for a test drive. Naturally, we tried to see if we could replicate the same animation cancel we did on the Sarco, but to no avail. But that does mean these things weren't stronger than a Sarco, and in order to prove that, we decided to spare some alpha creatures a bit of a visit.
Gigabyte.
Gigabyting. 3, 2, 1, go. Whoa!
3,000?
Bruh! That's insane. I love this creature. Bro, the bleed damage is insane.
Nearly 3,000 right there.
Let's go!
And it's gone. It's already gone.
That was at level 60. That thing terrorized me, Echo. Holy crap. At that stage, Echo had already made the decision to bring King K to the boss fight as his combat mount. Speaking of which, our little side quest got done just in time before the rest of our tribe woke up, so we can grab the artifacts to actually do said boss fight. Now, obviously, I didn't just spend 20 days building and breeding an army. I also farmed a lot of resources in order to equip my boys. Since we have never beaten the island before, my natural instinct was to bring all of our best gear to be able to tackle the caves, one of which just so happened to be very close to our home base. Armed with the best weapons we had access to, as well as a pack of wolves to keep us safe, we made way to take on the lava cave. But little did I know how much of a challenge this really was, because the bickering immediately started when I was giving out the rations.
I really want to shoot you right now.
Oh, you can just pick it up, you idiot.
There's so many better ways to do this. Like,
Y'all are just complaining Andes, Jesus Christ. I'm out here giving you guys everything you need to survive.
What's the
You're supposed to pick them up as I throw them. That's what the whole point was.
okay.
I tossed
literally
them.
started
I
throwing
tossed
them.
the
You didn't say
stack
who you
for
did.
you to pick up the whole stack, and then the next person gets the next stack.
Just one bug repellent?
Yes, one bug repellent. That's what I get for trying to be a good tribe leader. It's not my fault they didn't know there's a button to pick up everything off the ground at once. Either way, our teamwork was bound to be tested because as we ventured deeper into the cave, we were bound to come across danger. Lots of danger. And let's just say that no matter how prepared I thought we were, it was definitely not enough. Throw them.
I just threw it.
Toss them.
These things don't do
How
damage.
did they deal no
didn't do
damage? Okay,
anything.
plan B, get on the wolves, get on the wolves.
Jonathan,
Attack them! Attack!
come here, Jonathan.
These grenades are useless. That's such a waste
One
of
of them-
resources.
It's nothing.
One of them blew up on us.
Oh my god. They did more damage to us than the freaking bats.
Fucking cracked it. Mega rabies?
Wait, who got mega rabies? Who got mega rabies?
Whoa, what is mega
I
rabies?
have mega rabies.
Echo, get away. Get away.
I have mega rabies too.
Okay, my mega rabies is gone. Is everyone else mega rabies free?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
mega rabies free.
Alright, let's continue.
But it's gonna be asymptomatic. Dude. You can't be walking into each other when we're doing these things.
Oh,
I see the artifact. Okay, I'm gonna go grab the artifact.
Getting rid of my mega
you
rabies.
have mega rabies, Brandon.
Do I?
Alright. Got the artifact. I'm gonna go get the loot drop as well.
Brandon, no!
Oh no. Oh, go, no!
We had an otter.
Yeah, so things were not exactly going according to plan. I mean, hell, I didn't even get to name my otter before I lost it. But more importantly than that, Brandon, I, and eventually Birdie all lost all of our best gear to the lava skill check, as well as my mutated direwolf Sapphire. Echo, being the pro gamer that he is, was the only survivor, so he ended up arming Brandon as well as me so we could get back to the artifact. Thankfully, that thing respawns reasonably quickly, so I could get my hands on it before most of the creatures respawned. Unfortunately, the excessive heat in this cave got me dehydrated to mortal degrees, and as such, I was in a bit of a hurry.
So this is the jump that's kind of annoying to do.
Yeah, can you give me a grapple?
No, you can do it.
Listen, can you just... Give me a grapple.
No, listen, you don't get it.
Okay, just give me a grapple, damn it.
I do that. It's
I don't want to argue with you while I'm dehydrated. I'm dying.
waste of a grapple, bro.
Bro, just give me the... I made the grapple. Needless to say that this was not a great time for arguments. Thankfully, Echo came around eventually and realized what kind of predicament I was in. Out of stamina.
You're gonna make it. Come on.
Die,
You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it.
Bro, my topo is going up. I'm not getting stamina back.
Okay, take the berry. Take the berry. Go.
Oh, God.
Go.
I will never forget you, Echo.
Literally right behind you.
Oh. Well, I'm glad his team spirit came through eventually. As for our team performance, pretty shoddy. It definitely never feels good to come back from an adventure with less things on you than you started. I mean, we got the artifact, but the price we had to pay to get it was pretty steep. Okay, so that didn't go according to plan.
Did we get the artifact?
I mean, we did get the artifact, however...
Okay, then I say that was a mission success.
I would just... okay, listen, there's like... grades of success, and losing 3 people worth of gear for 1 artifact is not necessarily what I would call successful.
No, I'd say we did it good. We did good.
2 sides to every story, I suppose. Now, because I didn't want to keep throwing good things after bad, we decided to go into the next cave with minimal preparation. Actual bare necessities to survive, so that if we die again, losing our stuff was not gonna hurt as much. But because we lost most of our caving mounts, we kind of had to improvise. Incidentally, there was another cave not too far away from us, so it wasn't too much of a track to get there. But once inside, we found ourselves very lonely. For some reason, there were absolutely no creatures anywhere in this cave, shy of a couple spiders that we swiftly dealt with, but nothing close to the onslaught we had to deal with in the lava cave. So when we finally found some creatures, I decided to find out if my frog dealt increased damage to every kind of insect.
Okay, I'm pretty 99% sure hitting it with the headshot. Like,
Okay, wait, no, let me get this. I got this. I was born for this.
Why?
Oh, God, I was not born for this. I was not born for this. Ooh, oh, my lord. So that's where all the mobs are, huh? Definitely not the best decision I ever made, but besides that little jump scare, this cave was incredibly easy. We got our hands on the artifact with very little resistance and no losses to our name. As for the next cave, I have to admit that getting there was more challenging than getting the artifact. Traveling halfway across the map without a flyer was a royal pain in the ass, but thankfully we could soon break that curse. Because the last cave also went without trouble and only, minor casualties. Everyone was getting ready for the final battle. I ended up naming every Megatherium in our army after one of my YouTube members. Thanks for the financial support, guys. Let's hope you survive the fight. And spent my preparation time trying to get all of them onto the transport raft. Unfortunately, an unlucky press of the J button unended all of my work in one fell swoop. But that ended up being a blessing in disguise.
Ooh, a yellow drop.
Wait, on our island? Oh, we can use that. Wait, we can use that. Okay, everybody, we need to get the Megatheriums over there. Quick.
What happened?
We got a loot drop. We can use a loot drop to teleport to the boss fight. That just saved us a lengthy journey. In case you didn't know, you don't actually have to go to any of the obelisks in order to trigger a boss fight. Literally any beacon will provide that function, so all we had to do now was get all of our dinos around it before it disappeared. I plopped the artifacts into its inventory, hit summon, and prayed to whatever deity would hear me that we would succeed. This 30-second countdown felt like an eternity. Everything we worked towards in the last 59 days would now be put to the test, because right now, it was do or die.
Don't move.
Don't move?
Not moving.
Okay, move now. Get on your tames. Everybody get on your tames. The Broodmother's behind us.
How do I,
She's coming.
She's coming. Attack!
whistle aggressive?
I got this. I got the army. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the
How do I
giant
heal? There we go, I figured it out.
Get them, boys! They're not properly attacking her. They're all just on one side. Okay, boys, surround her. Come on.
I'm getting stuck. I'm stuck on all of them.
Yeah, your croc is really in the way
I'm
right
trying
now.
to get out. The way.
Okay, I need to surround her. Now they're buffed up. Now they're shredding. Let's go. Surround her, fellas.
Gigabyte. Let's see how much damage this does.
2,000, hell yeah. Birdie, hit right click, Birdie. If you hit it once, it's gonna continuously heal. You're not doing it right now? There's no John?
I don't have any berries!
You don't need berries.
He doesn't eat me. What?
Just hit right click once. Oh, they're not all getting hits in right now. That sucks.
One of the Megatheriums is getting low.
Alright, we got this, Cliff. It's almost there.
Look at that damage. Almost 1,000 to hit.
Gigabyte.
2,200. Let's go, Echo. Okay, we lost one. 3, 2, 1. Let's go!
Yeah!
First boss dead. We only lost one Megatherium? That's
To
crazy.
be honest, we could have had them all if we knew how to heal.
We did it! Sorry, Sammy. And you know what that means, right? We could finally get our hands on some flyers. And as you can probably guess, one of us was particularly excited about our victory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby, yeah!
But this is it for our story here today. If you want to see how much pain we had to go through in order to get these Megatheriums in our army in the first place, make sure to check out our last episode where we headed onto the frozen north. You can find the card on screen right now. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, peace.